Hello, everybody. we have
Greetings.
we have our special guest, QAnon.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to answer all your questions.
Yes, if anybody in chat has any questions, please ask. And I think I saw Rabbits and Ed. Hello, Vicky, Daniel. It's good to see y'all. So, I'll ask you some questions.
Oh, sure. I'm up for it. I'm glad you guys are all continuing to trust the plan and do good works.
So, is that what you're about? Anaconda, good to see you. Marshmallow Man.
Good evening, Daniel, Anaconda, Marshmallow Man, Vicky, Ed, Rabbits. All good cuties, as we call them back at HQ.
Kiwis.
The Q followers.
Oh, okay.
Our boots on the ground, if you will.
So then what is an anon?
Anon is a digital form of the same concept, if you will. If you take, for example, here we sit, here you where you are, here I am where I am, and yet we are together through this digital format, right? So it's kind of the same thing.
So we're the digital warriors.
You got it.
Hi, Susie and Echo.
Hi, Echo. Hi, Susie.
So what is the purpose? What made you put up a keyboard?
Communication. I think communication is important. It's important for people to know that we communicate and that communication is key, right? So we put up the boards, and I say we, I feel like I have to kind of set a couple things straight. I think we had it right in the beginning. We kind of lost sight of it. And just to kind of bring back that, Q is a 5-seat leadership position. So it seems, people speak of Q, it'd be similar to the office of president, if you will. However, it's 5 seats with the leader, if you will, changes every year. And that's to change trajectory and also checks and balances.
Okay, then that makes sense. When I saw the let me see what they were called. Yes, I've been doing some research into this because I am unfamiliar.
You got to do your research.
Yep.
Do the research, right?
The men behind Q. So it made it sound like there was a group. Okay. If you Google Q, you'll get all kinds of answers. And so,
well, at this point, I mean, why would you be Googling anything? Why would you even use that? With all the different search engines and stuff. I mean, if you're going to do your research, what you got to do your research. Everybody does their research. And once you know, right? So it's like you have to do your research, but you have to be careful where you do that research. So, I mean, we got to get out of this Google mind, that whole Google, it's kind of even sounds goofy, And we got to get to something more serious, like maybe like DuckDuckGo. something a little better.
Yeah. Well, I Google everything, and I know it's not a good site, and I'm sure it's being tracked, and I'm surprised I'm still here with some of the things I've Googled. And I have been having problems with my internet, so if y'all lose me, hopefully
I
going
mean, when
on.
we're this close to target, things happen, And Elaine, you're right. You're exactly right. And, all I got to say is 45, 46, and 47. All right. So she is on target.
Well, what I read about it, it says is the hey Pappy, how are you?
Hi,
Diana,
Pappy. Hi, Echo. Hi,
Diana.
Diane. All my little cuties.
it, it says the internet's most mysterious government poster. Um, so there's a Drake who was a decorated veteran whistleblower. Does that sound familiar to you?
Drake,
Drake.
not the rapper.
No, I don't think so.
Hi, Stands Alone.
Hey, Stan Salone, how are you doing? I could go back and try and find out more about Drake, but in minutes. I can't read my writing. It's so um, it has a lot to do with Trump and people who love our country. It says an anarchic image board. I guess that would be the keyboard. And then so that's is it the whole group that puts up these messages on the keyboard that everybody is watching all the time, or
Oh, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that. That's actually one of my talking points for tonight that I have to make sure to elaborate to everybody, to just kind of make sure we're kind of all on the same page. And before I get to that, I just want to say, hey Chuck, hey Pappy Two Bears, K9 Man, good to see everybody. Thank you. I love to see all my cuties here in the house.
okay.
Sharon, I see you coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So back to your question, Bonnie, in regards to the postings, and not just on the quote unquote archaic boards, as they like to call it, or what? I'm sorry, what word did they use? Cryptic or something like that. They want to make it seem as if we're being elusive. So here's
Anarchic.
the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, and okay. Well, I think part of the situation we see
I
there.
think you're gonna lose me.
Uh-oh. Well, that'll give me a minute maybe to answer the question and see if, I mean, that's one of the first things I said is this question is like right on target. So it would make perfect sense that we would have some kind of distraction at this point because that question is so on point. I think that it being in my talking points and you asking me the question just shows the synchronicity of tonight's conversation and open questions. I mean, chat too, I just want to point out you guys are more than welcome to ask me any questions, but I do want to get back to this question that Bonnie asked in regards to posting on the boards. And I just want to remind everybody that the posts on the board coincide with other posts. See, there's several posts, if you will, and different platforms on which posts are made, right? So you see posts happening on Truth. You'll see a post on the board. It used to be Twitter, X, whatever. And that's going to start coming back. But you have to keep in mind too that just the same tools that the enemy uses, you know, we take and use for good, right? So the idea of someone being able to handle several cell phones, or even how I, earlier said that Q is a 5-seat leader position, so it's always alternating. There's no way we're going to be able to pass phones. So one of the things that we see the enemy had used for evil is bots, right? But having access to these things and having access to the bots, being the bot master, if you will, that's part of the takeover. That's part of the red castle, green castle. This kind of leads into the next question. So, I mean, as far as the posts go, they have to coincide because of communication. However, now I'm here because of red castle, green castle, right? And what is that? I know that's just the next question naturally, right?
Yes.
And it's been kind of confused, right? Because I believe there was talk of red castle, green castle being maybe the Army Corps of Engineers or different things. But I want you guys to think of, what is a castle? What does a castle represent when you see that little emblem? It's a kingdom, right?
For a kingdom. Yep.
Exactly. So it's a kingdom. And we're in a kingdom, if you will, but it's not necessarily the kind of kingdom that you would have a castle, right? Where this whole everything is God's kingdom. Remember, God wins, right? Like,
Right.
we can never lose sight of that. So I'm here because of red castle, green castle. And remember, thinking kingdom, God's kingdom, the skies turned green, right? Signifying red castle, green castle. In military, you got to remember, red smoke, bad, green smoke, good. That's something good for everybody to know. It's good to know. Common sense ain't that common, as we like to say at the office. We kind of joke about it, but that also comes back to the boards, where we had to be able to break things down to the point where people had to figure it out for themselves in order to wake themselves up, right?
Right.
So if we were to just come out and say, here it is, we won, God won, okay, but this is the process and this is how it's going to look like. We have masked characters playing good guys and bad guys. We got the white hats, we got the black hats, we got the gray hats, we got all the hats, okay, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the ultimate red MAGA hat, right? So every kingdom has to have a king where God is, the king, but we have Trump here as a man, kind of restoring order and bringing things back to the way they should be. You see? And that's what red castle, green castle is. Now we're operating under green castle. We have expended the enemy's munitions. They have, how should we say, they have gone complete revolution in their Rolodex. For some of those folks out there who remember what Rolodexes are. Hey, Mayhem. Hey, D. Good to see you. Camel Carl. Glad you guys stopped by. Good to see all my cuties here in the house. Thank you. Thank you. Now, back to Red Castle, Green Castle, and how we have expended all the enemy's munitions. You got to think art of war, right? When you're weak, you make yourself look strong. When you're strong, you make yourself look weak, right? And why do you do that? Think, why, if I was so strong and I could just, with my thumb, extinguish this enemy, why wouldn't I do that? Well, because first, you have to see if they got any tricks up their sleeves. See? You got to trust the plan, right? So you perceive to the enemy that you're weak and you can take their blows. You're not receiving any harm. They're sending everything your way until they have nothing left, and you walk in and you conquer it, right? And that's where we are now. We're in that green castle. You'll see even here recently, Harvard's going under. All these things have to be redone, and we see some things are coming back. Bud Light, for example, they had chosen poorly originally. We got behind a movement. They got behind us, and now they're supporting more right ideals, if you will, or at least abstaining from promoting a degenerate agenda. So that's, Red Castle, Green Castle. Now they've expended everything. We're able to operate a little bit more freely and openly. You're going to see things being rolled back. And that's where the boards come in. If we were to come out and just say, hey, this is the plan, here we go, no one would have any ownership in it, right? So it would just be a list of instructions, follow that. There's no ownership. There's no reason for me to fight that. But having the boards and having the bots and then the multiple boards and the posts coinciding, kind of lining up almost like a perfectly straight fence with the different posts, gives people that path to follow, like breadcrumbs, like Hansel and Gretel, where the duck came and they ate all the breadcrumbs. They got lost. They didn't know where they were. Well, here with Q, you follow the posts right back and they all line right up. It's beautiful. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So we're getting some interesting comments here.
Okay.
No
Q
future.
nonsense. So there's, haters gonna hate. That's okay. We love you. We fight for you. Zero remedy. If you don't know Nisara Jasara, I don't know what more remedy you could want. I mean, Nisara Jasara, med beds. Are you kidding me? Gold-backed currency. Hello. When you see alien spaceships.
They had played their last card.
And thank you for actually bringing that up. That's actually another one of my talking points for tonight is actually the new technology that you're going to see. And that's something that we've actually brought up in the past in the Q post. If you remember a baseball game in Thailand where a dragon completely demolished the place. So you guys remember that? You guys remember seeing that video?
Wait, what?
There was a video of a baseball game in, I believe it was Thailand, where they were featuring a new technology, and it looked like this dragon flew in and started breaking things and knocking things over and breathing fire, causing total havoc.
Uh-oh.
It was like a CGI a video. So and that is their last. That's on the money with that one. When you see that, know that it's that CGI fake aliens. The real ones won't come in like that. They don't need to put on the show that way. They're not looking to scare, right? But those are going to be those CGI, and they're going to roar and they're going to spit fire and all that, just like regular dragons.
This is my white dragon. What?
I'm a clown. Do you see a red nose on my face? A little daisy on my lapel that squirts water?
Aliens don't exist because the Earth is flat.
This is called a dragon staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, it's very cool. Beautiful.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I'm on a live.
Okay. Does everybody else want to see my cool
No, they don't.
toy?
Not,
No. Okay.
I am so sorry. Interruption.
oh, that's okay. In regards to flat Earth, I mean, as we all could see, parts of the Earth are flat. Some parts of the Earth are definitely not flat. For example, the Rocky Mountains. You can't tell me that's flat Earth. All right, Earth ain't flat. It goes up and down, and that's it. All right. Now, the interesting thing about flat Earth is they call it an aeroplane. Like a plane refers to like something that's flat, like a flat plane. And that's actually how they teach pilots to fly, is they teach pilots how to fly on a flat plane, interestingly enough. Right? So why would you fly a plane, something that makes something flat, on a sphere that is round, but you're taught to fly on a flat plane? So there's a lot to that. And that's getting a kind of a little too close to target. I don't want to get you taken down or anything. I do know Ronan. He's a great guy. You should send him lots of love. John Dunning, good to see you.
Navy vet.
Lauren, Navy vet.
I have no clue. As long as I've been able to stay on it throughout my life and everybody else I know, I think we're doing okay. So you mentioned Nisara. So is Q connected to that? And what we've been hearing about it for 4 years and have not seen any results. So do you know anything about it? What's the purpose of even mentioning it in the beginning?
Well, when you think Nisara, I need you to think revaluation. I need you to think federal treasury. I need you to think gold-backed currency. I need you to think cryptocurrency. And I need you to think gold-backed cryptocurrency. Okay. So Nisara kind of encompasses all those 5 things that I pointed out. Revaluation. Currently, we see how the economic system and the Federal Reserve notes are owned by the deep state, if you will, the cabal. It's obvious and open to everybody at this point. They're not even hiding it. We're at this point where to just pull the rug out from everybody and say this ain't the system anymore. There ensue extreme chaos, panic, and be disaster, right? And that's what the enemy wants. They want that to happen. That's why they keep printing them and sending them. They want to burst the bubble, right? So there has to be this revaluation where we go back to a gold-backed currency, right? So part of Nisara would include that revaluation and the federal treasury that has the gold to back notes printed and cryptocurrency. And now the fun thing about Nisara is we're actually living it right now. And I'm kind of like, so many things have to happen behind the scenes for these things to kind of work. But let me give you an example. So right now, you can go to the ATM and or the bank, right, and take out $1, or you could swipe your card with $1 and buy something for $1, right? And now you can actually do an online transfer, which is kind of a big thing too. That's also encompassing Nisara, but it's including all of that to where we're conducting all this commerce, if you will, however, with funny money, right? Mm-hmm. So Nisara, what that's going to do, it's going to gold back our federal treasury dollars, right? And actually give it a value. It's going to be gold back. But now here we are with technology and accustomed to using the example I just showed you. I just told you with the ATM, taking out cash, choosing to use that. But now it's actually going to be a gold and silver backed currency. That includes a cryptocurrency aspect of it to allow for instant transfer. If you want to use that, you can use a paper version. We already have silver certificates, right? That's not we're just going to start using those. And those are actually going to be used backed by heavy metals, by silver, by gold. And the nice thing about that system is you have the complete Nisara. You have the ability to use raw metal if you want to use, here's an ounce of silver, an ounce of gold, whatever, to do your trades. You can use the paper version where you own X amount of gold or silver in the federal treasury that's accumulating interest. You'll be able to use the cryptocurrency if you wanted to do that way on the cell phones, how the kids are doing these days. And it also gives people more of an opportunity to invest. Now, with Nisara Jasara, everybody's talking about, oh, a payday, we're all going to be rich. Sorry to break it to you. What has been conveyed over and over is value, right? We've been so raped of value and overtaxed and overinflated, we forgot what that is. Once we actually have that currency that's backed and actually has value, has gold and silver behind it, we're going to have that buying power again. That's where the reevaluation is going to come in, right? And that's where Nisara is going to come in. People are going to have that value back. They're going to get that purchasing power back, right? So Nisara Jasara is happening, has been happening. We've been dropping hints, and some of you guys caught the hints, right? Like the National Debt Clock.org. I'm sure most of you are familiarized with yourself a little bit with that. You're seeing so many numbers, your eyes are about to jump out of your head. You're thinking, oh my goodness, what's happening? I get excited when I see that. I'm containing myself right now. That it's so rich with information, that site. You could just look at it for days. The colors, the numbers, and just everything's popping all over. You can hover, right? Have you tried the hover feature? If you haven't, you guys got to go in there, try the hover feature, and hover over federal treasury, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. We've been leaving these breadcrumbs. Remember Hansel and Gretel?
The little secret,
the breadcrumbs, the posts in a line. Yep.
So where's the gold going to come from to back?
Well, it's already there. It's what the government took from our ancestors off this land. It's there. It's in Fort Knox, baby. And guess who's got the keys to Fort Knox? Mr. T. Never forget. 45, 46, 47.
Okay. It's a lot to take in, y'all. So would you consider how do I say this? Would you consider people who follow, because you know what they say about Q and Anons and all of that, would you consider it a cult? Hey, Hawk.
Hey, Hawk. Ed, good to see you back. Indy, if I didn't say hi to you, hello. I love seeing all my cuties here in one place. Thank you all for coming. First, before I get to your question, Bonnie, I just want to address Hawk's comment, and he is on the money. Haha, you like the pun there with the gold and on the money. Nevertheless, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's a man who's done his research, done his homework, dotted his I's, crossed his T's, and is out there telling the truth. And as far as like your question, Bonnie, is a political party a cult? Is a Democratic Party a cult? Well, that's kind of a dumb question because we know they are. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. How about the Republicans? Are they a cult? Well, it kind of looks like they are, aren't they? Shoot. I don't know. It kind of what your definition of is, I suppose it, I mean, we're not telling people to drink Kool-Aid. We're just saying trust the plan and watch the water. We're literally saving the children and doing all these great things. I don't know, why people would say that, but I think a cult would have one leader. I think that's something to keep in mind. A cult would have like one leader saying that there's some kind of divine However, we're 5. Like I said originally, kind of setting the record straight right at the beginning, kind of circling back, if you will, going back to where it is a 5-seat leadership position that's alternating every year for checks and balances.
Hey, Debbie King, good to see you.
Hey, Debbie.
Encourages to think for yourself. I like that. We should all be thinking for ourselves, no matter what. Anons read the board. There's no such thing. Debbie, good to see you. Thank you.
I'm Q Anon. It's what it says there. That's me.
Okay, let's see. What other question? So is it only for conservatives, or does anyone have access to the boards or any information that is out there that you put out there?
The truth is available for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Good answer.
So whatever that is, right? I mean, a donkey has eyes to see and ears to hear, so I guess it's however, we're beyond political. The truth is for we the people, and that's all of us people. Excuse me, I need to take a drink of water. I feel like I've been stealing and just talking the whole show. I hope I didn't miss any questions in chat, folks. If you have any questions, please feel free. That's what happens, folks, when you're too close to the target. Bonnie took a big risk by bringing me up here and answering all these questions. Great questions and I know there's more. There's a lot of fear, which that's something that we don't want you to do. We want you to trust the plan. We don't want you to fear anything. We want you to trust the plan. So I think Sharon has a question. What does CERN have to do with the debt clock? All things must come to an end, right? I think something about CERN that folks need to understand, and I think this is something we tried conveying through the posts and through the boards, is that how does time work? Does it goes forward? I mean, like on a when you're watching a movie, I hope you all have popped your popcorn or enjoying the show. When you're watching a movie, you could play, pause, fast forward, rewind, right? So when you think of CERN, it's a big circle underground. And what else is a circle? A clock or a sundial, if you will, all big circle. Guess what else is a circle? A Q is a circle. But guess what? There's a line through it. That line broke the circle. Will the circle ever be unbroken? Well, nevertheless, CERN, circle, clock, circle, time, pause, play, fast forward, rewind, slow motion, CERN. So CERN, debt clock, all things must come to an end. Whose debt? Whose time is up? So I hope that kind of clears it up a little bit. And welcome back to your show, Bonnie. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I am having internet issues. I've got the indie internet tonight.
Yep. We had to preface it with, when you're this close to the target, these things happen. We get attacks.
And yes, I agree with all of y'all God is the one that knows everything. We can't know everything. And so when I was looking up Q, I saw that there is a documentary called Into the Storm. Have any of y'all watched that documentary?
Where
And
we go one, we go all.
oh, is that what it is?
Yep. You got it. Again, Bonnie, you're on it. Go ahead. Now, I love it when these synchronicities happen, when your questions line up with my talking points and we're able to actually expand on this, get the people caught up and together, because where we go one, we go all. So go ahead.
And I've been seeing that from the beginning. That it used to be put in the chats pretty regularly. Seems that people have gotten away from that. And so I'm wondering if everyone is kind of sliding into different mindsets, pages, whatever you want to call it, where they're, I don't know if you keep up with the community in YouTube, but I see a lot of clickbait titles. I see a lot of, oh no, the end is here. Or, I mean, they make it really sound alert, emergency. I think we talked about a lot of this at Indy's last night. And so I'm wondering if, and those people seem to get a lot of people watching them. So, chat, this is to y'all. Is it, are you believing those titles, or are you looking for that type of, I mean, I think all of my chat, from what I've seen, y'all talking and speaking and everything, you are speaking. When you talk in chat, you're speaking. And so I have seen that, I've seen a lot of wisdom coming out, and I've seen a lot of discernment, and I've seen a lot of questioning everything. And that's what we need to do. And that's kind of why we did this, was to just question everything. Because I'm not, I mean, I go and watch a channel that shows a lot of there's a couple of channels, and they show the keyboards, and they show the messages, and somehow they use numbers. So how does the numeric system line up with the keyboards?
Well, in one, just quick, what you're talking about is gematria. We'll come back to that. But to answer what you were talking about earlier, to give you a one word to solve all of that, and it's something that you all already know, and it's something that I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody in chat put, but I'll give you an idea, a hint. The word starts with the letter D. So when you see all these clickbait titles or fear promoting titles, what word that starts with the letter D do we think of and we use?
Discernment.
You got it. So from discernment to gematria. All right, I want to make that parallel there, because you asked me what the numbering sequence and what that is, and it is named. It does have the name that I just said. I don't like using it too much because it's a form of a code. However, it's such a good code where it will send you on a path that will make enough sense for you to keep pursuing it, and that path will be wrong. Okay. For example, you can look up a specific name or number that will give you two definitions, if you will, or two explanations of that number that are absolutely completely opposite. So in order for you to gematria, you have the discernment. And if you don't have discernment, you can't gematria. If you don't gematria, then you don't know the numbers and how the different numbers, what they mean. Right? Like I'm a 17. You know what I mean? Like if, as far as gematria goes, I'm 17, you know, that's discernment using gematria. And that way we can continue the code, communicate, and the enemy will be distracted. And that's where you get a lot of the misinformation unintendedly that comes from that, is that, you know, it'll send you down a rabbit hole. You'll think you're on the right path until you hear somebody say some pretty ridiculous things. And that's where you have to click in that discernment. When you start hearing people make claims about Christ and other things like that, that go in opposition with the Bible, if your discernment isn't there, you'll easily be fooled. Right? See, Dee is on it. She did the research, okay, and she knows the facts. You see how that works? It's beautiful. She trusts the plan. She knows, you know, she's been watching the water too. I know, over there. Oh, that last one was too on target. That was just too on target. And that's what happens, you know, when you're on target, the enemy comes in and they knock you down. But don't worry, just like Bonnie's going to get up here again soon, God wins, right? So all this, although there's struggles, there's also an end to that. See, I think a lot of people fear an end or the end. There's an end to every day. Every day ends. The sun sets every day, and each day the sun rises and a new day begins. We don't fear that. People used to fear that in antiquities and the day before. They wouldn't know what's going on. They were scared of their own shadows, right? So oftentimes, you know, it seems like throughout time, that fear of an end or the end of something gets prolonged, right? Up until the end of either an era, our life, things as we know it. However, what we need to keep in mind is the promise we have, and that with each ending, there is a new beginning, right? So you can't have a new beginning, you can't have a new start until you stop the old, right? You stop the old, start the new. So in every ending, there's a beginning. And just like this, boom, Bonnie's back up, new beginning, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Elaine, excuse me, has a question. Who's your Mr. T? Is it the one now? Well, I think I know what Elaine's getting at, but you have to keep in mind security. You know, you can't have king of the world just running around being in some snot-nosed court in New York that has no jurisdiction over him. It's obviously the optics. It's something to kind of continuously keep the movie going while you guys are popping more popcorn. You're seeing what you perceive to be Donald Trump in court and going to New York doing all this business. All right. However, the truth is, it's a safety thing. You can't put the king of the world in some measly court, right? We all know he's running the show. He's calling, you know, even in the House is still, they ask Trump yes or no, and he says yes or no, and then they do it, right? So he's calling that. So what you're seeing are optics. That's being put out in the public so that way they could see, you know, a figure being busy. Well, the real Trump is moving the pieces on the 3D chessboard, right? He's doing 3D chess. They're playing hopscotch and pick up jacks is what they're doing. I think I see a question. I'm sorry.
It's
I know
okay.
things are happening. My question is, when might we see something out in the public, such as an arrest, tried, punishment? Well, first of all, the first arrest will shock the world. And hello, who did I just say is in a sniffly nose court in New York? You know, one of the T's. I'll just say it that way, right? So if you want arrests, that was something that we made sure to put out there, right? Because that was the first. What else? What other arrest? You arrest the king of the world. What other arrest would shock the world? The first arrest will shock the world. Boom, first arrest. We got one arrested. Trial is happening now. However, you're asking a different. You asked a question, but you're really asking a different question. See, the question you're asking is that when are we going to see the bad people arrested? See, right? When are we going to see the bad people tried? When are we going to see the bad people punished or brought to justice? Some you never will. And that's just something you have to come. Some evil you don't even know exists on this planet. You'll never see that justice come to be. And that's just something you have to live with. It's not my choice, not your choice. It's in God's hands, right? However, you already have a taste of the next shockwave, right? The next clink clink, if you will, with the indictments coming with I don't know if we could say his name or whatever, but HB, right? And his dealings with China, remember? China, remember his dealings with them, and the big guy, right? That pot's starting to boil real quick. So we'll start seeing. I think the question you were asking is, when are we going to see on our side? No, we couldn't do that. The first arrest had to shock the world. That was in the boards. That was in the post. It was in the line of posts along the fence, right? So when you think first arrest will shock the world, the only first arrest that would make, and everybody called it, let's be real, anybody knew it would be Trump would be arrested. We were waiting for it. It would have been disrespectful if he wouldn't have been arrested. That would have insinuated that there would have been somebody else whose arrest would have shocked the world more than the king of the world himself, right? Absurd. So obviously that was like a give me. Everybody knew first arrest was going to shock the world. It's got to be king of the world. That's just how it is, right? So nevertheless, boom, they're playing that out. Now that was, how should I say, it's kind of like a trap. I mean, there's lots of traps. You have lots of traps, lots of bait, lots of stuff going on behind the scenes that, you know, the best is yet to come. Hello. Like that's the title of the show, right? So, I mean, the best is yet to come. We're just kind of leading up to it. Red Castle, Green Castle. We're now Green Castle, right? First arrest that shocked the world. Now we can move forward. Now we can get to work, right? And we see that HB, the big guy, it's all coming down and coming down fast. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. And why do you keep referring to him as king of the world?
I'm sorry, you didn't see what happened when he got elected. You didn't see him going around the world. They did the dance. They gave him the sword. They gave him the crown. They rolled out the red carpet. Peace in the Middle East. Hello.
Yes. So, oh, okay, Debbie, that's a good one. We see the board so today. So, what makes you think that they're not going to be one step ahead of us if they're also doing exactly what we're doing, analyzing your posts?
They don't have discernment. They don't have the D word.
Okay.
Hey Q, Alex claimed Trump and his family have been taken out. What do you say? Taken out, but not to lunch? I don't think so. Nope, they are safe and sound, tucked away.
Is 107 legit?
Well, I think you have answered your question in that question. And if you think about what is 107, 107, 107, 107, 107, 107, 107, right? So as they like interchange, they're very, it's the same. It's you have to kind of read between the lines on that one, right? So what is 107? What does post 107 say? What is our fair use, right? Under section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Hello, look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Synchronicities, folks. I'm telling you, ask that question at the perfect time for it to hit my list of talking points, for the ticker to perfectly catch up to the answer that was actually answered in your question. So when you say, is he legit? As far as the Fair Use Act of 1979 is, yeah, he's legit. He has a book. He's a published author, right? We know it's a pen name. Is he legit? He's an actual person, absolutely. Is his story legit? Well, there's always three sides to every story, my friend. There's your side, my side, and the truth. So you have to use your own discernment and say, hey, is that Bubblegum Roads book just some bubblegum stuck to the bottom of my shoe? Or is there something to it? Legit as the next grifter. That's fair. I mean, people got to buy pillows and they got to read books and they have to buy supplements because that's what we do. We're lacking in pillows. We're lacking in books. We're lacking in supplements. So
Pillows. I'm sorry. I'm not lacking in pillows. Light or darkness. There you go. Am I gone again?
nope, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. 60-40 for one.
Yep.
Okay, from Lindell. Yep. People, money, and fake, false info. I know. That's really sad. Do you have anything to say to that? The people who have committed suicide. I know a lot of people were depending on the Nisara. Well, they believed in it so much that they might have made some bad decisions and got themselves into some really big debts. So,
I just want to, before we go too far with that, like, is that discernment? Is that using good discernment, would you say? Is a bird in the hand worth two in the bush? Has that ever been the case? What I will say to that is that no one's ever promised anything. Not good fortune, not even the day tomorrow. And we have to actually care for ourselves enough to care for other people. And that's a heavy thing, because the irony behind that is how people heal is by helping other people. So there's this catch-22 with it all, where you're hurting and what you need to do to get better is to help somebody in order for you to be better, but you don't even want to help yourself, and it becomes this circle. And I think when Nisara, the misunderstanding of it, and the misunderstanding and not using discernment in a lot of these situations, is people put hope in false things perhaps for good intentions. Maybe they say, hey, I have all these people I want to help with Nisara, right? But then it never comes through. It doesn't come through how they expect it, and it destroys their world. So we can't do that. We have to keep track of each other and love each other every day. Call, text, email, send a goofy picture, meme, whatever it is. Just a little acknowledgement to everybody. At the moment the good Lord puts it on your heart, the image of that person or a thought, a memory, a notion, whatever it is, you act in that moment. Where we go one, we go all. We doesn't exclude anybody. It's all, right? So what we need to do is use discernment. We need to reach out in love and check in on one another. And remember, laughter is healing. That's a very important thing.
Yes,
If you
it
ain't
is.
laughing, you ain't living. All right? That's the one
That's
takeaway.
true.
If there's one thing you need to know from Q to you, all right? You hear me, my cuties out there in the world? From Q to you, if you ain't laughing, you ain't living, baby. Oh, yeah.
And Hawk, I love you. Just so you know. Hi, John. How are you?
Good, Bonnie. How are you?
Doing good.
Hey,
Q,
John.
how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Been wondering who Q was.
Now you know, right? And now
I'm
you know.
looking at Indy. Did Indy ask a question?
Yeah, when you was talking about Trump, you know, our normal way of thinking is, a right or wrong or simplified, but we're finding out there's um, more answers than one. You know, um, that's just like Trump. We see where he says, "I am the chosen." Um, and we're living out biblical prophecies right now. And when you look into like Christianity and the different cults of the past, some of them still exist. So you've got people who believe differently than you or I grew up believing. Um, and that's just like the there is a group of Jewish people. The Messiah is not necessarily Jesus Christ. The Messiah is whoever comes and brings them out of who brings them peace, put it that way. Um, so that would be their Messiah, which Trump, with the Abraham Accords, you could say he's the Jewish Messiah of that group of Jewish people. Um, because when you say Jewish, that's a whole um, group of different people, and they do have different beliefs. You have the Orthodoxy Jews and the different types, so you can't put them all in one basket, and just say Jew. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. Um, but
Could
here
be.
I have something here. I don't know if you can see this. That's a
Looks like a
Trump.
coin.
Yeah, that's a Trump temple coin. It's got a picture of Trump, and it's also mirrored with Cyrus the Great. So if you look up
What?
Cyrus the Great and who he was, so Trump is actually fulfilling several um, prophecies right now. A lot of people don't see that. They just see Trump, and they don't see that there's a lot going on to this. Now, I don't know, Trump's lineage, his bloodline. Um, it goes back, and I think a lot of people, um, with the Persians and the Ottomans, and This, it gets very complicated. But, a lot of people don't see these things taking place um, unless you actually looking into it. I find not only studying the Bible, what's in the Bible, but the Bible itself. Like, how did it come to be? What was before the Bible? And these things like that. And it's fascinating when you start looking at that stuff.
Hey, Von Eric.
Hey, Von Eric.
Hi, Bon.
Kiss off. Greetings. That's all very interesting, John. I'm grateful that you shared that with us, and it's
Yes.
definitely food for thought.
Mhm.
And I do want to mention this, however, in regards to The Chosen, right? There's a TV show, The Chosen, this and that, giving all of us this sense of false entitlement, I want to say. And the reason I say it that way is, remember, where we go one, we go all, right? So this whole concept of the chosen is you are chosen because you chose to receive Christ, the Messiah. That's what makes you the chosen, because you chose
Right.
to open the door. The Bible says he stands there and knocks. If you hear him, you open the door, you let him in, he will come in. And he is then the Lord of your life. Then you are chosen, if you will. And this is something that's hard to conceptualize, because it's a knowing we have, that the Creator knows all of the creation all the time from beginning to end, including our little part of it, right? So knowing that we had made that choice in receiving Christ as our Messiah, right? Choosing and being chosen, as it says in the Bible, he said, he is the way, the truth, and the life. None shall come unto the Father but by him. The Old Testament teaches of prophecies of one to come. The beginning, the Gospels of the New Testaments is Jesus fulfilling those prophecies. And the remainder of the New Testament is a prophecy of his return, right? And that's been very clear. And those who choose are the chosen, right? And it's a calling, right? That's why we hear that knock. That's why it's described that we hear something. There's a calling. There's a frequency, if we will, that we follow to allow that. And then now, if you will, we see ourselves as the chosen. And something to remember is that in the Bible, Jesus says he came for the Jew and the Gentile. There's no more blood lineages that lead you to salvation or sovereignty over God, or your own sovereignty through Jesus Christ. And that's something that kind of plays into things like legal, lawful, birth certificates, baptism, being reborn, right? Like, who you can't serve two masters. Who's your master, right? Are you bound to your birth certificate from the United States government, or are you bound to your rebirth through baptism in the Holy Spirit and are now in the kingdom of heaven?
Yeah,
So
life is what we make it. You can you have paths you can take, and that's the whole free will. Like you were saying, in the Bible, like a long time, I always thought, there was a group of people who were the chosen. But then, just like you was explaining, it's not really God choosing them, because then they would be considered slaves. It's you choosing God. Now you're a servant of God by your own free will. That's the way I took that.
hey, T girl, we see you, sister. We love you.
Debbie, I'm looking. Okay, so it's Donald's Bible. I didn't know if he meant diamond and silk. Okay, let me let y'all excuse me just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, Donald's Bible. Is that the one? I think Hawk played that the other night.
I think it's interesting you asked, just kind of going a little bit back. I've been pondering a little bit of what you said, and it kind of mentioned what was before the Bible. And I think I kind of, maybe I misunderstood that question. I was thinking, the Bible tells us kind of what was before the Bible, and that's kind of and one of the interesting things about the Bible, that it references itself like that. So it's kind of, in the beginning was the Word, right? It also talks about the Word being Christ, and the Word being with us, right? And we see that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting when you get into that. I mean, and I think a lot of times we actually we say it wrong. We say Jesus Christ, but it should be Christ Jesus, because Jesus was a prophecy of the Christians of the time. So the Christians of the time, they knew Jesus was coming to fulfill their prophecy.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I wouldn't get too beat up about it. He knows the intention of our heart and what we mean by it. Those are the little things I don't think really have, we don't have to beat ourselves up about it. I like talking about it. It's something, I think, I want to say it's like maybe level 3 or 4, right? Like, you got your beginner levels, you got to get your intentions right. There's lots of stuff going on. As you work up that ladder, as you get, up there, then we kind of start looking at things a little bit more historically, looking at things, how things were done in the time, and kind of get a better understanding of things. And as we research the Bible and Scripture, we're also exercising, if you will, our soul and our spirit, and building a relationship with God, our creator of all of this. And those are the things we should be spending our time with. We shouldn't be spending our time on cue boards and posts and fence lines, red castle, green castle. I know there's a lot of irony and comedy tonight. Thank you guys all for playing along. I love you all very much for it. But we have to be conscious of that, right? There are grifters out there that want nothing but your money, and they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Whisper the sweetest things into your ear. Doesn't matter, just $9.99 a month, baby. That's going to make you the most manly man you've ever been in your life. Right? We've got to use discernment and be a little bit above that. We can't let that, let ourselves keep falling for the same traps, right? But
Yeah,
these are the things we should be spending our time on: researching the Bible, reading our Bible, getting back to the land, working with our hands, getting to know our creator and our purpose here on this planet, whether it's flat or spherical or whatever shape it's in disaster right now. It's in a state of chaos.
Yeah, there's so many things, and like you said, it is on an individual basis. I mean, the Bible, Christianity, is simple enough a child can understand. You just need to have faith and belief in Jesus Christ and accept that. Simple. Love others. It's real simple. But there are people who are very, I'm just curious. That's the only reason why. But some people can't accept simplicity. Simplicity drives them nuts. That's kind of like the battle, really, is you have people who think, man, it can't be that simple. And it's like, yeah, it is that simple. But, you can make it complicated. If you really have like me, I'm curious, so I'm always looking at stuff like that. And I get into stuff like the linguistics and the different, how the actual how they actually interpreted the different scriptures and brought things to what we have now. And that's in itself is a very interesting thing to look into, and how people who are scholars at looking into the Bible, not only the Bible, our language itself, um, has it evolved through time. I mean, there was like the great vowel shift that took place where at one time the E's were pronounced A and A was pronounced E and different things like this to get us to where we are now. And some people, they look at that like, spell, the way we spell words. We're casting a spell when we use our language today because it's not the original words that were used. Um, and you can, and that's in spelling. We write in cursive, like we're cursing each other. And some people say, like if you use the word good morning, well, mourning is what we do when somebody dies. So you're saying good death, you know, um, different things like that. Um, but in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And they've altered our words, you know. So even in a biblical sense, there are, like you've seen the movie Da Vinci Code, there are actually, not, and this is in all of our language, um, how things have evolved. And if you take and like just type in a modern day word and put ancient, like the ancient word, what is the ancient word for whatever word it is you want to look up? And it's interesting what comes up with that. And I think, we have this tool that we can use right now um, to actually communicate and come together and meet people we never would have ever met before in our lives, and be able to spread, information with each other. Like I said, what I'm telling you is nothing new, and to the best of my knowledge, it's all true. But at the same time, I like for other people to be curious. That's the whole purpose of what they call the rabbit trail, is that we get curious and we ask questions and we look for the answers, and then we share that with each other.
Well put, John. And so that's since I see chat saying different things, and that's kind of the reason I did this. What is so awesome to me and unique about us is that everyone has different views and opinions and different ways of researching. We have people, I never did the going down the rabbit holes. There's a lot of things I haven't done that all of y'all have done. And so I do ask a lot of questions. That's the only way that we're going to learn. And so it's so in researching Q and the boards and all of that, and Hawk has shown a lot of that, and it is interesting to me. But the same with everything. I do not put my complete faith into it. My faith is with God, and for me it's more spiritual. I don't study the old books. I don't look for the old books. The Book of Enoch was sent to me, and I never even watched it. I probably should have, but what I know of the Word is what I know, and it gets me through. And that I don't even know how to explain it. But at the same time, it's having an open mind whenever we're in this YouTube community, because we're going to hear so many different things, so many different versions, different ways of looking at it, because we're all different. If we were all the same, it would be a very boring place. And so grasp those differences. And I mean, I love all of y'all, whether it's, and there hasn't been any real arguing here tonight, which I thank y'all. And we're as different as we all are, we still get along. There's people from other countries that I see come through here. Just so many amazing people all over the world. And all over the world is going through this right now. There, I mean, we have had a really pretty good life here with what we see happening over on the other side. They they have seen that all their lives. I cannot even imagine seeing that all of my life. When I saw the video of the man carrying his son, and it was obvious what they had done to his son, and it 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 breaks my heart. I lost it, but then I have to get over it and keep going. We have to keep going no matter what we see, no matter what we hear, no matter what is thrown at us. We just have to keep trucking on. And we have to do what we can to keep ourselves healthy enough and aware enough to do that. Because all of us have things happening all around us. For some reason here, I'm seeing multiple head-ons and people losing family members, and it's very disturbing right through the holidays, but it happens all the time. And it just takes 1 second of them not paying attention and it happens. It can happen to any of us anytime. We're not promised tomorrow. And so this is why I appreciate this community so much. I have family here with me. It's not that I'm alone and I'm lacking anything. It's just an extension of friendship that I feel here. It's the just watching everybody grow, and I'm growing with y'all spiritually and in every other way. And our goal, I think, is to figure out how to get through this, how to try to get one step ahead of them, because this plan has been for how long? So long. And it's so we got to get better at, I don't know even know what you would call it. If I was in the military, would it be strategy, making our own plan, um, defense, whatever you call it? It just seems that we need to get ahead of the. If everyone's read the plan and knows the plan, I don't see how we're not coming up with a solution or a way to keep on keeping on. Does that make sense? Excuse me.
But I think we already know the end answer. God wins, you know.
Yes.
But like you said, you know, in between that, you know, all we can do is love one another. And like I said, you know, I like to share little bits of information and stuff like that, that, you know, maybe we're not seeing it the way it's playing out, you know. Like I said, you know, maybe Trump is, maybe, you know, whether he really is a Messiah, maybe it has to play out that way to bring peace to the Middle East, you know. I don't know. But you figure a lot of our conflicts in the world come from the Middle East, you know. So it's kind of like, well, if they establish peace there, maybe that will spread across the rest of the world. And two, like I said, if their prophecy is fulfilled, you know, uh,
Mhm.
that makes us one step closer in the um, biblical revelations, where peace in the Middle East and different things like that. But I don't know
Yeah.
if, as people, we want to see people arrested and all these different things. But I think really, you know, when you think of it as God working, um, God could, you know, make it to where these CEOs have to step down. They'll never work in that field again. You know, they'll lose their wealth. They'll lose all the, and like the Bible said, they won't be able to walk down the streets. Um,
Yes.
and that would be that would be worse probably than going to prison, you know, to be looked down upon by civilization itself,
Yeah.
Like I said, we're all seeking answers, but, I always come down to, enjoy your family and your loved ones and enjoy this beautiful world that God's provided for us. And he's got this, you know. Um,
Absolutely. And Elaine, I don't understand.
I just want to say, I feel compelled to say that for me, there's only one Messiah, Jesus Christ, that lived 2,000 some years ago that the Bible speaks of, that was crucified, buried in the tomb, raised again on the third day, and that's it. And when he returns, he's coming back different. All right. So I'm not in any way saying anything about anybody. That's where I stand. I do not um, subscribe to a multiple Messiah or anybody else can be that.
I agree,
But
but that's what,
we live in a world where people believe all kinds of different things.
yep, that's
And
it.
I am willing to share this planet with everybody. I don't care what you believe, as long as you don't have hate and malice in your heart, looking to kill, steal, and destroy and cause harm to your fellow man, right? And people can believe differently than I do and have their own beliefs, and I have my knowings and etc., and live at peace with each other, right? In our own camps or however it looks. I don't seek war, right? But sometimes it's presented before you, right? And that's where, Dee was saying, we don't comply. We hold the line.
Yeah, like I said, like you believe and I believe, Bonnie believe, everybody in chat, we have beliefs, and we're similar in our beliefs, but there are other beliefs out there, you know, and there's a lot of makeup, make believe stuff going on. Like if you actually look into like the different cults, like Jonestown, and then there was the end
Mhm.
time cults, and um, there's all kinds of videos on cults, and it's like, wow, and you'd be surprised. People join these cults. You've got
Yes.
people pretending to be like angels, and and people follow them because they believe that's an angel. And but yet they're doing
Mm.
bad stuff in that cult.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. When I was in my 20s and I would go to 6th Street in Austin, there was always this group of people. They wore long brown robes. Their heads were shaved. Um, I'm not sure what they were, but their message was Jesus loves you. And one time when I was walking by them and they said it, and I just turned around and I said, I know, thank you. And you also, and just kept walking. And so I don't know what they were. They all looked just alike. Um, but I would assume it was some kind of a cult.
People,
But they
people,
didn't seem to want to create any harm or anything.
right. It's like people, you look in the United States itself, like how many denominations there are. I think there's like 2,300 denominations. Um, you know, so why can't we all come together and agree on something just because there's um, small variations of the same thing, you know?
Well, I think what we learn is that throughout life, we actually do at some point do come to an understanding. It's just we're at different points in our life, whether in all aspects of it, age, finance, whatever. Not just you and I, but every single human being on this planet is in a different, situation where it comes to. So, at some point, I think we do come to the truth, and we choose to follow or not. Right? Choose to let it in or not to let it in. Although it's at different stages in our life. And I'm part of it, in my opinion, is that we each play a role in that. Our day-to-day comings and goings and interactions with people, as minute as we may think they are, do have a huge impact. Like I was, just kind of a little personal experience, nothing grandiose, but I was having kind of a hard time. I was just seeing nothing but grumpy people all of a sudden. I was thinking, good Lord, what's going on? Is it something in the water? And do I stink? I brush my teeth. I wear deodorant. You're like, what is it? Is everyone just mad at me? Am I saying, And then just continuing in life, people are starting to smile. All of a sudden, the gas station attendants are like overly nice and conversational with me, keeping me there for 5-10 minutes, So it's just kind of that reminder that, you know, those times when we're nice to people, we just say hi or we offer them a kind smile and a good day, might be just what they're looking for. They might have been running into grumpy people all day, and that sweet gas station attendant who called me honey and kept me there for 5 minutes just chatting, very nice of her to do that, kind of restored my faith a little bit in humanity. I thought, well, okay, you know maybe things are on the upswing now. Maybe people are kind of over it. Maybe the whole full moon thing got to some people and we're kind of getting back into normalcy. But so even those little interactions throughout the day really do have an effect on people. And we can be mindful of that and use that for good. We can be positive and perpetuate that positivity.
My favorite quote, how can I change this world? I start with myself, you know? And like you said, I'm always looking to try to be positive and helpful. And, I try to pass that along to my kids. And um, I think that, like you said, if everybody was to have that same mentality, how can I change the world? I start with myself, and
Mhm.
and be more um, oh, open to saying hello. How are you today? You know, um, smile at someone, and if somebody needs help, you help them out if you can. And I think the world would start just by that alone becoming different,
Yes. I saw somebody mention that last night. Can y'all hear me? Am I back?
Yeah,
You
you're
sound
back.
good.
Okay. Um, they said it starts with you and then it starts spreading. And um, so that comment really stuck out to me. I don't know if it was at Indy's or Virginia's. We were up till 5 o'clock this morning with Virginia. And but it was so interesting, both conversations at Indy's and then at Virginia's, that I was like, I don't want to leave, but I know I need sleep. But it's true. It starts with me and how I treat others and how I represent. You know, we have 4 generations in this house. And so I have to be the example for them of to expect them to do better. And so it is how we represent. If we represent as a grouchy, negative person all the time, how is that going to benefit anyone else? And how are you going to expect a good behavior out of them when you're being totally the opposite?
Lead by example.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of what I think we're experiencing too is just this very technology we have um, in front of us. This is something new. Now we're starting to see the world in more of a real time scenario, you know, and we can actually see things like you can look up um, history, you can look up different things like that. So it is kind of like a massive overload of information that we're taking in, and we're trying to figure it out. And um, there's a lot of times we're getting steered in the wrong direction because even with this technology, there are people who have used, like we know with the TV and the radio and all these different things, how they can actually persuade us in certain directions, um, and I believe with this it is the same thing. you know the politicians can use it to get us to go this way or that way. um, you know Whatever their agenda is, you know um, it could be used for good or ill, like anything on this earth. Like a gun. A gun will not hurt nobody until somebody picks it up. And I think this technology is the same way. I think it can be a very good thing, and it might actually be um, what a group of people are doing is trying to use this to get us all to think. And I see that working. A lot of people are thinking now of things they never would have thought about in the past.
Exactly. That's me. I mean, I was so caught up in trying to make money and take care of my kids and take care of the home and just making ends meet that, you know, mostly what I saw was my community around me, my family and my community. We were very involved in the community. And even surrounding counties around us because um, family moves, and so they're all around us. And this was like a total whoa when I first started coming into YouTube and seeing the people in the community it, and going to the different channels. And um, a long time I was a lurker. I wouldn't say anything in the chat because everybody seemed to know everybody somehow. So I know that there's other people out there that are the same, I'm sure. But I have learned so much. But a lot of it is that's, I was hearing them say that, um, what if the power goes off? What are you going to do? And so that's when I started having to ask questions. What do you do? I mean, I know here when our power goes off, we just deal with it. And now, thankfully, especially after Snowmageddon, we are not used to 5 degrees like people up north are. And so that was a real wake up call for me, how to heat food, how to do anything. And um, then this last summer, with it being 110 to 120 degrees, that was the one I was more worried about, because I feel like there's always some way to get warm, but to get cooler, I'm still working on that. I mean, I don't know, but I just appreciate everybody that I have learned so much from. And it's been each one of y'all. And watching also the way people treat each other here and lift each other up and pray for each other. It's just seeing, it's like a huge family.
It is. It's a community, a digital community.
Yeah.
And that's like, and you do have the fear mongers out there. But I mean, today and tomorrow is no different than yesterday and the day before. There's that saying, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I do know who will bring tomorrow. And like you said, and in the past, we've always had the same, threats. The power could go out, storms and this and that. That's existed ever since I was a kid, and
Yes.
we deal with it. When it happens, we deal with it, Um,
Yes.
and can you actually prepare for something, Um, I think the best thing is, like we have a digital community, and even within your community outside of the digital, you have friends and family, and something happens, you know, it's not to go run into a bunker, I don't believe, but everybody would come together and work out things as it, as it's thrown at you, you deal with it.
Yes. You look for that person with the fireplace or
Right,
whatever.
right. Yeah, me and my son-in-law, we was putting a heater in his garage, and his his neighbor wanted us to do some work over there, and he had a wood stove, and I said, yeah, we're just going from heater to heater.
Yep.
But people are good. There's more good in this world than I believe there are bad people, um, and it's going to prevail. But in the meantime, you do have these mongers. Um, they're either wanting views on their YouTube channel, or money, or different things like that. No different than the um, oh the main media was doing. The TV. They want you to watch. They want your focus. They want you to believe what they're telling you.
Yes. Who wants to
Well,
answer that first?
I will.
Okay.
Seeing how I'm Q and all hello, like obviously that was directed towards me. Who else? Anyway, I'll answer you, Tennessee Ridge Runner, with a song my mama used to sing to me when I was a little boy. She would say, Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. It's okay, Sarah.
Doris Day.
We can't
Yeah,
cloud our minds with things that and questions that can't be answered or shouldn't be answered.
and that's just like most of the things we're trying to figure out. We don't have the means to do it. That's like the whole viral thing. You know, I don't have a microscope. I don't know anything about it. So I'm relying on other people, and I'm getting all kinds of different versions, you know. So, like you said, you have to use discernment, and um, you know, I am footed with God, the Creator, and organics and different things like that, more so than the man-made um, stuff. You know, actually, I see where that has done actually created the problems we deal with today, because man has um, dabbled in stuff they shouldn't have dabbled in. You know.
Yes. And so that's going to be um, my next guest is deep state. So I don't know when that'll be, within the next week, I think. But that should be very interesting to hear those answers. And I hope all of y'all have all your questions ready.
Who is it? Deep State?
Yep.
I've been wanting to talk to him too.
Well, I'll post it ahead of time and let everybody know. And
Yeah, something, you know, the more I think and contemplate and everything like that, we use terms like deep state and different things, and we want to point the fingers at different groups, organizations, and stuff like that. But if you really stop and think about it, these people won't go by a group name, you know. It ain't going to be like a three-letter agency that's who we blame, or you know, to me, it's just like in the Bible in Revelations, it talks about we battle not against flesh and blood, but principalities. So
yes,
to me, it's like principalities. These are people who are like-minded. They're criminal-minded people. They're not really in any. They're not really a particular organization, but they're in all organizations. You know, um,
yes,
if you know what I'm saying. They're
yes,
like-minded people. This is how they think. They don't have to have oh a real plan to go by or anything like that, because this is basically their evil nature, you know.
yes,
And the only way we can actually counteract that is to have a good nature about ourselves. Don't let this evilness um, entice us to join them, you know. Be a good person, you know. Walk the straight and narrow line, and put your faith in God and Jesus, and enjoy life, you know, and be the example, you know. Smile at people, help them out if you can. Um, you know, God will lead you to the people who need you, you know. Um, I don't think it's really so much go out and beat people up with Bibles, you know, because I think that's a big turnoff. I think that's what people have tried to do, is just beat them up with Bibles instead of just smiling, you know.
yeah. And that's what we're trying to fight, is the control.
Right,
Don't try to make me think the way you want me to think, or feel what you want me to feel, or eat what you want me to eat. it's, it's we're all, and that's different. People have a different line that they've drawn.
right. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, there are people you like to watch and listen to, and they are very informative, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Um, but at the end of the day, just remember, you know, it's not really all about the oh, it's more personal.
Yes.
Let these things make you a better person, you know.
What resonates with you.
Right.
Yeah.
personally, because it's not going to be for everybody. And that's why I think there is so many channels, because just that it's people are looking for different things.
Right.
There's a bunch of movies that I've been hearing about, and I don't know if y'all watched any of them. The latest one that everybody's talking about, Leave the World Behind, How It Ends, Goodbye World. I mean, they all sound like doomsday movies to me. I haven't watched any of them, but um, each one of them is going to have a message in it, some sort of a message. Just like the that last one that came out, I can't remember what it was called, something about freedom, I think. But even that, it's our focus needs to be on what the message is. And if it's exposing that these things are happening, then that's the good of it. And that's I really, really wish they would do one on the border, because that's where I'm seeing it begin. Um, Other people could be seeing it begin somewhere else, but I'm seeing it begin at the border, because it's not like it used to be. It's not families coming in looking for a better life. The way they're using the children is horrifying to me, but that's what I see. Other people may see something different. We're all in different states. We're all in different parts of the world.
Yeah, like I said, like the border, do we really know what's going on? Um, what would cause them people to come up here? Is it the enticement? But something I have seen where there's oh, the UN has a immigration policy, and a lot of these states are getting big money to accept these migrants. So
Yes.
you could say, is this what it's all about? Is it so that the states get money, so that the United States gets money? I think Biden put in for an emergency immigration of, I'm wanting to say $13 billion for this, And it's like, and a lot of people, they want that Nisara. Well, in Nisara, if you look through that, the original thing, there was different criteria that countries and states and everything had to abide by to get that money.
Yes.
And could that be part of it as far as like, open borders? You have to have, if you want the money, you got to have open borders.
And but look what it's doing to our infrastructure. Even just the infrastructure. We don't have the housing. We don't have the what. It's putting a strain on our food. It's putting a strain on our everything. And oh, did y'all hear anything about our grid being knocked out last night? Or they tried but failed?
I heard
I
about
never heard
Texas.
about it.
I
The
heard
red
about
flag
Texas.
with a sickle on it, people.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw that in the comments last night at Indies, and then somebody asked me, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I was, and they said it was the Texas grid, and I said, "Well, you would think I would have heard that, but no." And I didn't even see it in the headlines. So I'm like, that was two people that wouldn't have even known each other. It was a personal person, one of my daughters, and somebody in the chat. And She doesn't go on YouTube and watch these.
And like the grid and different things like that, like electric cars. Did anybody take a poll to ask if the U.S. the citizens wanted electric cars,
Right.
or windmills, or solar panels, or So
Yeah.
somebody's calling the shots, and it's not us.
Yes. But my mother just got a 500-gallon propane tank, and she was all freaked out about how much it was. And so my brother's in California, so he called to see how much one would be, and it was a whole lot cheaper. And so they're both like, well, why would that be? Well, the reason why it would be is because California is trying to cut everything gas. You can't have gas furnace or a gas stove or a gas heater or anything with propane. So, of course, their tanks are going to be cheap because they're probably trying to get rid of them all. Around here, we take the old ones and make barbecue pits out of them. I mean, I don't know, but I can just see where the trying to get through this is going to be really hard with the immigration, and it's just putting us deeper in debt. We don't. We were already in debt before they even started coming. So, yeah, I often question what the purpose of this is, because there has to be some kind of purpose. And I don't think it's money, because we are trillions in debt. It just, money doesn't come out of thin air.
Something's going on. We just don't know.
Yeah.
The world is complicated. We try to simplify it, and two, we're not. That's like what gets me is like when you watch these committees in Congress or the Senate or whatever. These people will bring up like when they're questioning somebody, they'll say, "What do you got to say about this article in CNN, or this on the Washington Post, or this?" And they're using these media um, publications versus, well, what's our 17 intelligence agencies telling you? This is where you should be getting your information from. I remember that what is the name, Oricus, or with the migrants, they were asking him, what about this caravan? Yeah, what about these people coming up from the south into the United States? And there was a caravan. He said, "Oh, I read about that in the Washington Post this morning." And it's like, really? You're getting your information from the Washington Post, and you're the government official?
Yeah. Well, and we all read the headlines, and but I do it to see what they're trying to throw out there next, because we know that it's not going to all be true. The ones that, I don't know about y'all, but when I open my computer up, they start scrolling across my computer. Any news of the day, it starts scrolling across. And every so often I'll tag one and look at it. And usually it's like them trying to take away the masculinity of men. Or what's this one? No, that's not it. I don't know. I've got so many up here. New bill in Texas allows state to arrest and deport illegals. Just the ones that affect me, or just trying to see what they're putting into our kids' minds right now, or what they're trying to get other people to believe. We know to question everything, but I have a best friend of forever that she doesn't question anything. She does exactly what she's told to do in every way. And she's the one that I really worry about because it if it's if it's on Good Morning America, it is fact, and that is that.
Right. That's why I say, we're being led, and I think some of it right now is there is a fight going on, where with this
Mhm.
technology, we are getting a glimpse of reality and what's really going on with the other junk that they're um, trying to continue with, like trying to make our kids, even here, which I never thought I would ever see trans people here, you know, but
Yes,
it, here
yes,
within the last 6 months, I've probably seen two trans. I'm like, wow, this is
yep,
worse than I thought, you know, and I think too, it's kind of like society with the we grew up with the Bible and what a family is and what the man should be and what the woman should be and the child, and there
yes.
was that structure. But this
Each
is
person's
being,
role.
yeah, the family structure itself is under attack, and it has been for a long time.
Yes.
But we didn't realize it. We were like, well, what's going on? What's going? But now we're able to put the pieces together and say, wow, this is actually an attack by a group of people. Like these people that were in the closet. You know, they're wanting to
Hmm.
come out and they want us to accept them. You know,
Yes.
yeah, but like when it come to like our health, there's something called PFAS, which is a forever chemical, and a lot of our ailments is because of this. It doesn't break down. It's like your Teflon skillets, and
Hmm.
that it's in everything really. Um, but
Yeah.
our body is not used to this stuff, and you can't really get rid of it. So it is causing boys to go sterile. It is causing mental illnesses and different things. So it's like we've already been infected with this stuff a long time ago. You know,
Yeah, they haven't got me yet. They've thrown it all at me, and they
And
keep coming at me. And you know what? I'm still here,
right?
that's right.
healthy as a horse. You know how I know I'm as healthy as a horse? So I took some of that paste and I started jumping around, hopping fences,
Makes you want to go graze in the yard, don't
looking for sugar cubes and carrots.
it?
Yeah, they're gonna do all kinds of stuff. The worst stuff that's gonna happen though, and what is happening, is they allow us to create these monsters in our own mind. All these stories and things we know have truths about, and maybe are true, maybe are not. However, they allow us to create these monsters in our mind that are actually worse than what is in reality.
Right, right. So Country just hit it. He said he's doing a live tomorrow with how propaganda is in, and Obama
Good.
lifted that one bill. I can't remember what it was called, but allowing the government to use propaganda on its own
Mm.
people, you know. And if you look into propaganda and the committee on, I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to look it up. But they've been doing it, and then, the United States has actually went into other countries and put the psyop on them to influence their elections and get the people they wanted in. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like, in order for us to understand that, maybe this is, um, being used on us. Maybe it's kind of like, hey, that's the only way we're going to understand it is if we actually experience it.
And we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the only country that I know of that allows these extra things to be put in our food. So we should be really hitting the FDA or, um, oh, what else was I just thinking of? And so you know that those forever chemicals are messing with hormones and everything in
Oh,
everybody. And how do you control people is take away the protein. And so I keep seeing all these headlines of how bad beef is for you. Don't stay away from beef. Americans are turning away from beef and our meats, period. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. No. And I know there's other ways of getting protein, but I still, in my healing process, what I saw worked the best. And I had the protein powder, I had everything trying to build up my strength, was just a T-bone steak. it, it was just amazing how much stronger I was getting eating steaks. And um, even though they were expensive, because my stomach had shrank so much, it a steak would last me like 4 meals. So it wasn't as expensive as it would be if somebody could eat a whole steak. I can't. But so
and that's
that's how they were brainwashing people way back World War II. The
oh,
prisoners of war in Vietnam, and all of them was depriving them of the protein or any nutrients that they needed, really.
yeah. You know,
And
and just like you was pointing out, it goes deep and it goes way back. And that's just like baby formula. You know, there was a
yes,
there was a time when there are women who cannot produce breast milk when they have a child.
mm-hmm,
So they
yeah,
said, okay, let's come up with a solution to that, which was formula. But they
yes,
started misadvertising it that it's better than breast milk. And there's
yes,
nothing better than a woman's breast milk to give the baby or the child um, immune their immune system and the things that they need for a healthy childhood. You know.
yeah. And I had kids that were allergic to milk. And so I had a friend that raised goats. And so they had goat's milk.
Yeah.
That,
When we had that shortage, my daughter had just had a child, and
mm-hmm,
she couldn't find formula. And I told her, I said, well, I looked into it, and over in Britain, they were using goat's milk, which I read the thing on it. It was healthier than the baby formula in the United States, but the United States would not allow it into the U.S. But at that time, because of an emergency, they did the emergency um, act on it. They did
yeah,
allow it to come into this country. So then I think it was called BABS, BABS, or BUBS, BUBS, or something like that. And got that, and you know, but in the process of that, I was reading like a lot of the U.S. manufacturers had a monopoly. There was only like two or three companies that produced it in the U.S. And that was the reason why they couldn't get it in the U.S. because these companies had it where, their product would only be sold here in the United States. And that's the same way with like pharmaceuticals and, there's, I think everybody's seeing like, Mexico, they have stuff down there we could have gotten for our common codes. And, I'm seeing where Japan has stuff that's good for common codes and, our immune system and different things like that. And it's like, but the
yeah,
U.S., the FDA is actually keeping stuff out of this country.
yes. And that's why I feel like that's a top organization to put on notice, because they have control over so much of what we eat, drink, a lot of things that can come in or cannot. Um, I think I saw where Mexico had us growing corn here, and but then once it was grown, they wouldn't even take it because of what was sprayed on it or something, something about the chemicals on it, and they said nope, we're not taking it. So I'm sure it's being used here, but it's pretty sad when another country won't even take the
Oh,
food that's grown for them.
there's a lot of countries that won't accept stuff from the United States.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it goes way back. Like, they went to like the chemical industrial revolution, and we know now that like hemp, they were making rope and material, clothing, paper, all these different things, and per acre, hemp puts out more oxygen than an acre of woods.
Yes.
So it's like all around it's a good thing. And hemp, I think, got a bad name because they compared it to marijuana. And it's like, no, hemp is a good thing. It's, you can't even get a buzz on with that stuff, but it's
Yeah.
it's just got so many good things to it. But there again, the Rockefellers and those people who were in the chemical industry said, hey, that stuff's that stuff's evil. We can't use that. That's, we need to ban that stuff, and we're going to use this polyethanol chloride, and it's like, what the heck, and now our health is not good.
Yeah. It
Your
seems like I even
physical health starts with your health in your mind. When you see the world as everything around me is killing me, your body will become diseased with something. You
that's
can't live
true.
that way.
But
They might be out to make a buck. Like I said, they haven't killed me yet. There might be a lot of things that are going on in this world that I don't know and I don't understand. Quite frankly, I don't care. Got things to worry about that I can affect.
yeah,
But what affects your physical health the most is your state of mind. When we can't live in this perpetual state of fear of being attacked by every front, and eventually they're going to kill us. Eventually we're going to die of something. Nobody here is going to live forever in this physical body, right? That's never been argued. But what we
that's
have
what I
to
said.
keep in oh, sorry, Bonnie.
But it's okay. You can keep on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. I didn't know if you were going to add to it, but what I will continue to say is that, we're called to be a light in a dark place. In Sunday school, as children, we sing songs, "This little light of mine, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine." But what we're doing here is we're hiding our light under a bushel of fear and anxiety brought on by things we have absolutely no effect over or control or anything to do with. And we can't do that. Don't hide your light under under those bushels of depression, anxiety, fear, things you have no control over in this world. Okay?
That's true.
The way people see your light is through your eyes, your smiling eyes, right? So a little bit of homework, I guess, for everybody is take some time and take a good look in the mirror and look into your eyes to see if you see joy. That's the most important thing. It's going to carry you through into the next life or eternity or however that exactly works out. The joy of the Lord is our strength, and that shows through your eyes. You see it in your eyes. Look yourself good in the mirror and see if that's there. Don't hide your light under any of these fears and anxieties of things you don't control and that are out of your hands.
A lot of things we haven't had control over is because we haven't had our eyes open. Like, just like, things we point out. Like you said, we shouldn't live in fear. but we should be observant, you know. That's like learning that, you know, organics is better than non-organics, you know. These things like that, which is helpful. You know, it's not to be in fear, but um, to be mindful of what's going on. You know you're muted, Bonnie? She might have had to step away. Yeah, but life is a good thing, you know. And I mean, you know,
Yeah.
like you said, we should enjoy it and um, be the light. Let our light shine and smile. You know, be happy. Try to find peace within yourself. You know, stay in the Word, not of the world, and just, you know, we'll get through this. You know, but now, like I said, our eyes have been opened up.
We're also called to be the salt of the earth too, so make sure you have some flavor. Don't be bland. All right. Have some flavor, right?
Laugh.
Well, y'all, I'm gonna have to close this one up. Dee, are you wanting to come backstage? Well,
I was
you want?
going to hit it, Bonnie. It was good talking with you. Q,
I appreciate you coming up, John. Thank you.
Q, it was a pleasure meeting you.
John, it was good speaking with you.
You have to,
It was an honor to share some time with you.
you'll have to fire that board back up.
Well, like I said, red castle, green castle. So the game boards changed. We're playing 3D chess here. So, I mean, in 3D chess, you have 3 boards. We're off the red board on the green board. Now red castle, green castle, remember. So,
Yeah.
but it's true.
Remember, God already won. You know, we can't comprehend that. You know,
Yep.
and we love you all.
Love you too, John. Thank you so much for coming up. Always appreciate your insight. Oh no. Did I get lost again?
I'm still with you.
Oh, John left. Okay. He just left quick. I was looking for this song that I was going to end with. Let me find it real quick. Y'all, this guy is really good. I put it on my community page and let's see. He did one that is pretty popular right now. So, okay, got the song. Let me go back and mute and do all that. So I'm going to close it up now. I so appreciate all of y'all being here. I hope that you received something out of this. It was fun. It was, thank you, Ronan, for everything you
Who's
did.
that? Who's that?
QAnon, excuse me. Thank you, QAnon, for coming to visit. And you're welcome anytime. And explaining to me how it all works. And I hope that everyone else now knows how it all works.
And trust the plan.
Yes.
17.
All right.
Greencast.
Let me get this song up for y'all, and then I will tell y'all good night. Everybody's already leaving. Thank you, Hawk, for being here. I know that it was probably frustrating. But I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I shouldn't say I know. I know nothing. Here's a song for y'all. Please enjoy it.
Unlock my phone, watch the world die. They're crying to God while they run for their lives. Blood in the streets, bombs in the skies. Goodbye, I hope you had dreams come true. I hope they see in their crosshairs what I see in you. And I hope and I pray, 'cause it's all I can do. I don't understand who is good or bad. They don't care as long as you got oil sands. We need something fast, we need something bad, more than guns and tanks. Where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman? I turn on the news and watch the world fight. Thousands of men making widows of wives. I'll be home soon, walked off in the night. Goodbye, I will remember you. I know it's shoot or be shot, but they're men just like you. And I hope and I pray, 'cause it's all I can do. I don't understand who is good or bad. They don't care as long as you got oil sands. We need something fast, we need something bad, more than guns and tanks. Where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman? Soon, you won't need a TV or an iPhone to see, because you will look out the window and boom. I don't understand who is good or bad. They don't care as long as you got oil sands. We need something fast, we need something bad, more than guns and tanks. Where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman? Oh, where is Superman?
His name is Chris Burke, and y'all need to check him out. He's from Canada, and he is very good. His voice is amazing. I hope he makes it. All right, y'all. God bless you. Have a good night. Keep an open mind. Keep yourselves healthy. And do what you can to keep your mind open, but not open to the stuff that can hurt your mind. Maybe that's the word. Love y'all. Good night. Do you want to say anything else, QAnon? Where I end it?
I think that was a great song. Thank you for having me up, Bonnie. And now You know.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.